Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV, where we believe that everyone has the potential to be a giant in their own world. Today, you are going to discover how to unleash the greatness within. So hang tight, stick around, don't go anywhere, because we're going to wake up the inner giant. Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. I'm Ryan Morris, co-host of Wake Up with Giants TV and co-founder of A Tribe of Giants. And I am here with Nicholas T. Smith, the author of The Giants and the Smalls and the future bestseller, The Tortoise's Hair. You can go to thetortoiseshair.com and see our current crowd fundraising efforts. We're doing really great. We are not even halfway through the campaign, and we're almost to halfway to our goal, so that's good. We raised $1,000 outside, so how that's a little smaller on my screen.
Yeah, let's see if we can go big
there. Screen, bigger.
We're at we've got $1,000 offline, right? And $39.10 here in the campaign, so we're $90 away from our halfway goal. Yeah, dude, getting there.
Yeah, crushing it.
Russian.
Yeah. We've got a lot of great things going on. We're working on you can go to giantsandsmalls.com and sign up for the newsletter. We had some hiccups on that. Apparently it was sending it to outer space. So some aliens somewhere were getting our newsletter. And they're grateful, I'm sure.
Yeah. Let us know if there's air up there, if it's cold.
Yeah. What's it going?
Really like?
They know what we're up to, but now you can know too. So go sign up for the newsletter, giantsandsmalls.com. You can see when we go live every single day and time, because there's also a beautiful calendar of events. So it shows everything that we're doing. It's great. And we're taking kind of pre-interest group or sign up for our SG group. Man, that was a mouthful. I think I need more Monster Energy this morning.
Yeah.
That or I need to hear from our guest, unless there's something that I'm forgetting, Nick. What else do we have?
There's just one more item that I'm going to throw in the chat right here,
Beautiful.
Which is our giant quiz. So it's a 20-question questionnaire. It's designed to figure out where you are on your emotional giantness scale. And so if you want to go take that, I'm going to put that in the comments right now so that you can click on that.
Now,
go take the quiz, see what kind of giant you are. That helps us to help you, to serve you. So it's a great program. It's free to take that quiz. It'll email the results to you, and you can see them right on the screen.
Sweet.
Plus, you get a discount for Stretch Revolution, which is our 12-week online self-study program. So huge discount for being a part of that quiz. So go take it.
Quiz it up.
Quiz it up.
Be inquisitive and take the quiz.
That's a lot of it. We're having more and more announcements coming through. It's awesome. That's it, man. I think we're ready to go.
Woo! You introduce our guest. I'm really excited.
I would love to. So we got Dave Orton. As you can see, he's a enlightened, bright, fun, energetic character. He's a seasoned coach with over 10 years of experience coaching individuals, couples, and businesses. He is a master of acknowledgment, which means he has a unique ability to see and cultivate the greatness in others. Dave's extensive training includes programs from Dale Carnegie, Toastmasters, Tony Robbins, Landmark Worldwide, and NLP training through Empowerment, Inc. In addition to coaching, Dave has over 20 years of experience in high-tech leadership, where he led teams of up to 105 people in countries around the world. He's passionate about people, learning about different cultures, religions, and backgrounds, and has traveled to 16 countries around the globe. And we get to have him here. So, Dave, welcome to the show.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here with you guys. I love you guys and your work. It's just fantastic.
Thank you, man. We're glad to dive into your journey, because this will be all about your philosophies, your life, your experiences, how you got to be Dave the way that you are today. If we were to dive in and create a starting point, we like to go through the 12 journeys. So the 12 journeys are what we consider to be the pathway of a giant, which include the 6 root journeys of unconsciousness, awareness, grief, gratitude, acceptance, and empowerment. And then we move into the growth journey. So to start out your journey, really looking at maybe a non-conscious state of your life where you thought you were somebody that maybe you're not today. Maybe there was a point in your life that really affected you. You can go all the way back to development. You can go through development. Do you have a point you want to start at?
Yeah. So I was born and brought up in the most concentrated Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints membership area of the world. At least that's how it occurred to me.
Was that Provo, Utah?
Rexburg, Idaho.
Rexburg. Yeah, I was gonna say
Right.
it's either Provo or Rexburg.
It's like they took all of Mormonism and it just concentrated like the juices right into a tiny little can.
Sucked all the water out of it right there in Idaho.
Well, it was interesting because I believed a lot of things that were just straight up nobody ever told me this is the way that we believe. I just made them up. Like, I believed that my family was the chosen family and that the other Mormons were all going to go to hell at some level of hell, and the rest, but our family, no. It was like, where did that come from? Nobody ever said that. I grew up thinking that people that smoked were going to hell. Nobody said that ever. Nobody ever said that. And yet I was like, indignation, judgment upon you. I judge you. Be gone from me, ye foulers of the air.
What does that smell? Indignation.
And it's, I grew up with I grew up with a lot of judgments that nobody ever said this is the way it is. I just saw things and made things up. Now, I think that's pretty common. But the other part of how I grew up and how the world occurred to me was that, my culture and my religion, I didn't have that. It had me. So what I mean when I say that is, I am a Mormon boy was so deep into the way that I viewed the world that there was no other way to view the world available for me.
Yeah. So limiting views of the world, right? So this idea that you had it all figured out and everybody outside of that was something else. How does that affect your development and growth?
Well, it was kind of cold in Rexburg, but it was also cold in here.
Okay.
I had it was extremely judgmental.
Yeah.
It was. And guess what? Guess who gets judged when I judged others? Me.
Yeah.
When I fell short of my own ideals, I was the guilty party. I was the one who had no access to the grace of God. I was the one who was creating suffering from my own views about the way things were. And man, it was I grew up in a loving family. My parents are still together. My brothers and sisters, we all talk. We love each other. There's nothing wrong there. And in that paradise, I created my own version of maybe not hell, but purgatory. I don't know if I was Catholic, it would be purgatory, I suppose. It was not a fun place to be.
So
I didn't.
Yeah, when you woke up to it, though, I mean, was there an element of grief? Was there an element of maybe anxiety, depression? Were there any heavy emotions that came up when you woke up to that way of being, or were you more accepting? Like, how did you navigate that?
Well, let me tell you about that. So I got hit by a truck when I was 14 years old, working on a farm outside of Rexburg, and had a near-death experience. My heart stopped. I have no memory for 5 days. They called it semi-conscious, so I wasn't comatose, but they would have interactions with me, and I have no memory of those interactions. And I was not permitted to see the tunnel, but I got to sit in the waiting room. And I got to feel this love that was so overpowering that I can't put it to words. And I got to see myself as I remember having thoughts about thoughts in this space. And I am so grateful for that experience because it helped me to see that the fears that I had were not real. It helped me to see that my concept of everything was not based on experience, but based on stories that I had made up in my mind about the way things were. Now, I didn't have language for that at age 14. And the way that I occurred to myself shifted dramatically. Now, it was interesting because my specialness went way, way up. I have gone to the dead and I have returned and I am here to... It's like, oh, come on, stop that. What are you doing here? So to all of the people that I told my story to and wanting to be special, I really apologize. And there was value in it because I got to be who I got to, well, how to say this? I caught a glimpse of the way that God looked at me. Caught a glimpse of the way that universe, whatever that word is for you guys or whoever's listening.
Sure, yeah.
I got to feel that. And I got to experience loving me in the absence of all judgments.
Now that I know that you grew up in Idaho, I'm only going to judge you based on Napoleon Dynamite. I can't unsee it now.
Dude, that movie cut so... I hated that movie the first time I saw it. I love it now. But it cut too close to home.
Your neighbors.
Yeah. Well, I was Napoleon. I was so awkward. My mom gave me this, but the first book my mom gave me that I remember her giving me was How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's like, please start learning how to be with people.
Get your hands off my tots.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, in the two songs that they played, there's two songs they played in there. One of them is Forever Young by I can't even remember the name of the band. Oh my gosh,
dude. Yeah.
The second one was When in Rome.
I know both of those. The Promise by When in Rome, right?
My two favorite songs. And it's like shown in the context of small town Idaho. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. We know another guy from that area, right? Isn't Brett Moore from there? You're all muted there. Isn't he?
Yes, I think you're right.
And your outfit right now reminds me of Brett Moore because he has this bright orange, like Dumb and Dumber, when they dress up. He has that too.
Yeah. His are Boise State colors, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've lived in the Boise area for 20 years now. And
you were probably neighbors. Bam and Napoleon. I'm going to text Bam. He's going to have to watch
funny.
this.
Yeah, get him on the show here. So this awakening moment, when we see this, we see a lot of people, maybe you can help us navigate this, is when they have a certain way of being, they're non-conscious to it. It's just running, right? Some of it is epigenetic. It's passed down from ancestors. Yeah. Some of it is developed. So they learned it from their family, their culture, their society. And then they have their own experiences. So they add that to it, and then they automate all this and they become non-conscious, right?
Sure.
So they do that, but then they wake up to it. And what we see is people move into this space of judgment and shame and blame and resentment and some of these heavier emotions. And then some move from that into a grief or a sadness about what's not. And then they lose hope for life and they get into despair. And how would you kind of share with somebody if they're in that space about an awakening, kind of you have an awakening moment where you finally get to feel and experience what it's like to not have any of that, right? How would you help somebody navigate from where they are in that judgment to that?
Well, I must have ordered a twofer because I absolutely went through that experience when so I had my 15 years career in high tech with one company.
Yeah.
And then that job went away. I was made redundant and I had no idea that I had identified myself so powerfully with being an international businessman, successful businessman.
Yeah.
That when that was gone, I had no idea who I was. I mean, I knew I was still a father and a husband and things like that, but I was
Your
no
whole
longer,
identity was that, right?
it was, and I was
Yeah.
no longer providing for my family. So I was a failure as a father and a husband,
Mhm.
and I couldn't find work immediately. In fact, I was out of work for 18 months, and I went into deep clinical depression. I had like 2 years of depression, and it was, man, it was dark, and I did grieve for that which was lost, and I did have extreme pain. You know, and that was during that time that I hired Steve Hardison. And how did I hire him? My sister basically sponsored me to have a 10 hours with Steve Hardison.
Holy cow. Yeah.
What a gift.
Yeah. That's a big gift.
And all I wanted him to do was to wave his hand and say, or Dave, be back to the way you were, because at least you weren't in as much pain.
He has hair.
That's
Yeah.
people are like, oh, hair on the show. They don't see that very often,
Yeah,
Dave.
we're not used to that. Who is this guy?
I smell indignation.
I judge you.
Hair.
Oh, yeah, I love it. Thank you. But Steve's like, you can count on, we won't be doing that. And what we went about doing is creating who I am and who I am now. You know, and it was weird because I was 5 years into being a coach at that point. You'd think that a coach, if they were dealing with depression, they'd stop coaching and deal with their own stuff. No, no, just keep going. You know, it was really kind of
that's hard, Dave. That can be eye-opening, and then it can change everything you thought you were, which is letting go of a whole bunch of things, and that's why I think a lot of people don't.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, it's easy to get stuck there, right?
Yeah.
I've got this quote that's coming to mind, right? This be to do thing, right? The do to be, I think was Nietzsche that said that. And then it's be to do. And then there's do, which is Frank Sinatra, right?
Went to Scooby Dooby Doo.
There's this whole way of being movement. It moves from doing to being, and then being to doing, and then Frank Sinatra, right? So was there an element of really waking up to kind of who you are and acknowledging, I would say before even getting to that, acknowledging where you are, right? Acknowledging what's going on in your world and what's happening?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, well, to continue, like, hang on to that and to continue that, to carry it forward. How did that affect you when you acknowledged and just accepted, holy crap, this is where I'm at?
So, Nick, I've never shared with you this moment. I am aware of the story of the genesis of the giants and the smalls with you. Mm. And the moment that I went to get help from church, you see, I'd been giving my whole life and feeling really bad for the people that had to accept this stuff. And when I had to receive, I didn't receive, I had to accept, tolerate help from church, government, family. And when I went and saw my great aunt, my wife's great aunt, handing out things to people who were like me in a state where their needs had exceeded their ability to provide for themselves, I felt completely broken. And some judgments were introduced there on money that I just recently finally forgave myself of. Like, I cannot ask for help unless I am broken. I cannot receive or accept assistance unless I have maxed out my credit cards, been completely irresponsible with my finances, and just recognize that.
But not until the last penny of that credit card is spent, right?
Not until it's exceeded. Not until people are calling me saying, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
And that was that side of that, and being there and recognizing that it was occurring, like this is the bottom. Welcome to the bottom. And then going, and I still have a beautiful woman that loves me, and I still have children that love me as their father. I am still surrounded by people in my community and in my church and in my family that are concerned with my well-being and want me to be happy. Now that took a while. That took a couple months to get from I am the broken man to I'm still alive and still breathing and still a possibility of life ahead of me.
There is a almost like a bifurcation, right? That happens when you're in that moment of acknowledging what is. One path takes you back to despair and depression and worthlessness. And the other is a path of acknowledging the good in your world, right? Holy crap, I have this and I have this and I have that, versus the despair of there's no hope. I can't do anything. And that decision right there, that choice, it's more of a choice to move into despair versus gratitude and acknowledgement of the good that's in your world is within each of us. There's a 0 point where we have a chance to really look at it. And we can do it at any point. You could even go down the path of despair and depression and anxiety, and at any point have another 0 point and move back into acknowledgement of the good, right?
And thank God for that.
Thank
God for that, because boy, I got on that hamster wheel of that despair, and I tried to serve my way out. I tried to eat my way out. I tried to love make my way out. I tried to addiction escape my way out. I tried to pray my way out. I tried to work out my way out. Like physical workout, my way out.
You did a lot of do, right? Do.
And that's exactly what it was. But yeah. And here's the funny part. Like, I am so grateful. I'm so grateful that I went through all that and that I did all of that, because it gave me a depth of understanding and compassion for people that are dealing with the mental illness known as depression, anxiety, loss of self, that I had no idea of what the reality was. I took a psychology class and I learned about what this was, but I had no idea what it felt like, what the experience of it was. And now when I'm coaching someone who is in any of these areas on their journey through the 12 journeys, I can serve them as someone who has walked that path instead of somebody who's just thought about it.
Yeah. I've been there, right? Now, okay, so we're going to hang here because the compassion and empathy that emerges naturally from within us. I love the work of Richard Schwartz. He's my new favorite, right? In the internal family systems theory. I used to love Carl Jung. I love Carl Jung. I love Carl Rogers, as far as their work goes. But there's a deep acceptance and compassion and empathy for what's going on within us. And as a natural expression, when somebody gets attached to their true self, they don't have to go out and develop compassion. It expresses naturally from them, right? So when we really get in tune with who we are and our value that's already there, then we immediately move into a space of compassion. It's not our true selves that get in the way or our inner giant that gets in the way. It's all of these protections that we put in front of ourselves to keep from hurting that, quote unquote, like we can hurt it somehow.
Yeah.
but we develop all these protections like depression, anxiety, borderline, all these mental illnesses. They're protections. I mean, at one point they really did something to save and protect each of us, but now they get in the way where we can't move forward and grow in our lives because of that. Right?
That's right.
Did that bring something up for you to share?
Oh man, I see, and still like I'm not a finished product, right? Like who I am being powerfully, and I am acknowledging people, and I love people. You know, there's 3 tenets that I'm living my life from right now, which are that there's nothing I can do that would make me unworthy of the love of God. There's nothing I can do that would make me unworthy of loving myself. And there's nothing that you could do that would make you unworthy of my loving you.
Can you repeat that? Like, I feel like that's worth repeating, right? That just all 3 of those. I think however people look at it, as God or universe, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. Can you just say that one more time?
Yeah. There's nothing you can do that would make you unworthy of God, the divines, the God of your understanding, the universe. That love for you. There's nothing you could do that would make you unworthy of that. There's nothing you could do that would make you unworthy of loving yourself. There's nothing as a possibility that anyone that you could do that would make you unworthy of my love to you.
Dave, I've been out trying to prove that that's wrong. Right. Not right. Like, okay, let's see.
You won.
Yeah, I'll go and try it. And it's like good things still happen. It's like, holy crap, man. Like, it doesn't matter. All these things that we judge ourselves for and all this shame that we heap on ourselves over something we think, right? I love Lisa Feldman Barrett's work where she says that anxiety comes from our thought that we're not measuring up to somebody else's ideals. Well, what about this ideal of God or universe or higher self or some version we've created of ourselves that we don't think we measure up to that, right? That's our biggest problem.
Well, and it's pervasive too. And it seems at some point to be built into the human machine that's running the thoughts. Because so far as I can tell, everybody has to go through this, has to go through the discovery process of, oh, I did something that is not in alignment with my ideals for myself. Therefore, I am unworthy of my love toward myself. I must hate myself. I must dislike myself. I have to punish myself, and then it'll be okay. I apologize. I can apologize and make it back up and do the things to make me worthy, meaning of worth, of value, to be again loved by above myself and everyone else, and to love everyone else. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If I think I'm unworthy, then everybody else will think the same. If I think I'm not good enough, then God, universe will think the same, and other people will too. But it all originates right here, right? And great tacos.
And great tacos.
You throw tacos into anything. We love it. I don't think even Mexicans love tacos as much as us white people do.
Tacos worthy.
Throw it out there a lot, right? Like, that's just lunch. This whole idea of we really put a lot of pressure on ourselves to live up to something. And acceptance is, other people, like you say, see, there it goes, is there's nothing that anybody else could say that would affect that worthiness. And I think this is really powerful, when you unleash the greatness within, it really is an unleashing. I think of the story of the circus elephant, right? And the guy walks in and he sees this elephant on a tiny little rope tied to a chair that's free floating that elephant could carry around everywhere. And he asked the trainer, how is that even possible? And he said, well, we chain the elephant up when it's young and it learns that it can't break free. And then as it gets older, we change that chain to a rope, and then we move that rope to a chair, and that elephant won't go anywhere. And it's not like somebody else does that to us. Like we can have programming that would make us feel like other people are doing that to me and I'm tethered to a chair or whatever because of my upbringing. And we carry that story forward, but it's a rope on a chair, right?
Absolutely. And in many times it's like we're being led around by a rope. And if you follow the rope from my neck to where it ends in this hand right here. And I am the one jerking myself around and complaining about how life is jerking me around.
Yeah. It's like a Smurf leading a Titan. I don't know if that's a good image, but it truly is. It's like we have this small version of us with a rope, and it's this huge Titan within us, right? And we allow that to lead us around. And truly, at any point, that Titan within us can take off and become, everything that we can imagine. Yet we allow that little tether to lead us around as though we're bound. And it's some story. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I had a conversation with my son just the other day. He was hanging out with some friends and his brother, and one of the kids told him he was selfish because he wanted to play with his own basketball, right? Like it's his own freaking basketball. And this other kid's like, "You're selfish. You always keep your basketball." It's like, well, go get your own basketball, little kid. In my mind, I'm like, whatever. And then I'm like, well, Jason, like, he comes down all sad because he's got his feelings hurt because he's like, "I'm not selfish, Dad." And I've said, Jay, like, what you made it mean something to you. Are you a selfish kid? He said, "No," and he was crying through tears, and and it was kind of upsetting him. And he got it though. Like I talked to him about meaning making and how we let everybody else dictate, like how we feel and what comes up in us. It's our responsibility. I said, how cool would it be to change the words around or not even hear them? Jay, you know who you are. I was like, you're a pretty amazing kid. You share with so many people. You're the exact opposite of that. So you can look at him and go, yeah, no, I'm not. Still my ball.
Yeah.
Fire it right back. And we have these moments in life where, that's a funny story because he's 11, but we freaking do it as adults. We let like these little things make meaning in our life and then live our life according to some guy that said we were selfish.
And we're 100% justified, right? Like it's like nobody can talk us out of our story.
We strengthen that rope, that mythical rope that's tied to the chair, that's tied to nothing, really, and we bind ourselves in that. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's a great story.
Hugh says we share the hoop. Well, I'm not sharing my ball, but I'm sharing the hoop.
Yeah. The idea of moving through these journeys, because we see these as journeys individually. They're journeys. When you really dive into the journey of non-consciousness and you're able to sit with all of these things that you've developed and programmed as values and beliefs and personality and all of this, right? So when you can sit with that, then you can move into awareness, the journey of awareness, where you really give yourself room and compassion and empathy for any of that. Right. And then you navigate any grief or sadness that could be there, which is the journey of grief. Because when you navigate that sadness, it doesn't turn into depression. It doesn't turn into these heavier emotions. When you can feel the feelings, Glennon Doyle in her book really dives into feeling the feelings, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's where it opens up when you can fully feel the feelings to move into an acceptance, the journey of acceptance, which is acknowledging what is. Doesn't mean you love it, you're resigning to it, nothing. It just means this is where I am and this is what is. And so when you move from that to the acknowledgement of the good in your world, then now it's just a matter of getting your power back, because our bodies are designed to do certain things, right? Your body is designed to release chemicals. It's designed to respond to those chemicals. It'll even shut you down in behalf of those chemicals. And one thing I've seen you do is you do these ice baths and you do a full conversation while sitting in the ice, and you just got an upgrade to that. But when we talk about the journey of empowerment, it's all about these tools that help you to get that power back, right? why do you sit in ice water?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. So there are.
It's mostly for me, I think. In my mind, it's exactly for me, because I laugh, I cry, I get it. Like I feel all the feels, and I don't have to be cold. Like
right, from a vicarious learning through Dale Orton. Yeah.
Well, I haven't posted the first one yet. I'm going to post a video today showing the new cold pool, which is really a cattle watering trough that I got from my local farming supply store yesterday.
But you are from Idaho, right?
Oh, yeah, baby.
It's like at the IFA, the cow ranch.
I am Napoleon Dynamite. Except I work with cows, not chickens. Okay, so we did work with cows. It was a dairy operation that I was working on when I got hurt. And my brothers both. A lot of my brothers work there too. Neither here nor there. The point is, cold water is. Thanks, Steve. So Steve Hardison gave me this jacket, by the way. This is an expression of who I am being right now, and it's made up. And I get to be who I am, and that's exactly why I go and do the cold water. I get to be the cold water. It reminds me that I get to be who I am being, regardless of the circumstances.
Right. I'm
in 40 degree, 35, 32.5 degree water. And my body, bless it, thank you, body, for being here, wants to just go, ah!
Yeah. My body does too, all the way here in my warm house.
Ryan's like, that's cold enough for me.
Yeah. Right.
I'm going to click that off.
I get a little shiver every time you jump in.
Well, and it's so funny because it does take something, right? Like there are barriers to getting into
the ego.
If you watch the videos, it's like I'll step forward and then I'll pause. I step forward and I'll pause. I'm like, commit, and in we go. And then the next thing to break through is, and then I made a concerted effort to be able to develop the ability to think and to articulate or to sing or to whatever to express myself.
I'm going to post that in the tribe. That needs to go in there for sure.
Yeah. Well,
it's unreal. It's like and I'm sure as you practice, right? Like the first time is much different than day 30, because I think it was a 30-day challenge originally that you were doing.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it was a challenge other than you challenged yourself. So I don't know who challenged you or if it was a real thing on the internet. But
I just made it up.
Yeah, but it was your own challenge. And day 1 looks way different than day 30. Just like our podcast. You go back to day 1 on our podcast, it's great. It's hard to watch. It's funny though, because we still show up like ourselves, like we're still however we are, but the ability to articulate our thoughts and be able to share, and the technology changed and we adapted, and it looks way different. And Dave hopping in the kiddie pool trying to talk is way different. Day 30, he's singing and he's like, oh, and he gets in this cold thing, and then he proceeds to give you a 20-minute, 15, well, maybe not 20 because that's pretty long, but
20 minutes.
A 10-minute message in 30-something degree water. It's unreal.
Well, it's beautiful, Ryan. The other thing, there was another point here. It's a quickening or a tightening. You could call it that too. It happens.
A quickening.
A strengthening.
The quick and the dead.
What's that show? The Highlander. Right?
The Highlander. There can be only one.
There can only be one. Yeah, if you're a dude and you want to feel small, take an ice bath.
Well, and here's the thing, right?
It's a great time to tune in, Paula.
There's something about being a giant. On day 1 of your podcast, on day 1 of my jumping into cold water, I am already a giant. I am being a giant. I am being the giant that lives here with me. And you were too on day 1 of the podcast. And the giant expands and unfolds and becomes more of itself.
That right? Who is it? The
Or of
untethered
already
soul.
whatever is, right?
Who wrote that? The untethered. Michael
Uh,
Singer, is that
Michael Singer.
right? That word untethered. That's it. What you're describing is the giant is already in there. So you're untethering it. It already is. You're already being that. There's no becoming that. You're already that, right? So you're unbecoming the smallness,
right.
essentially. But you're already the giant.
And the other part of it is that your book points out so well, and that you guys are in the world, is that everybody who identifies themselves as a small is already a giant
Right.
within themselves. And all that's waiting is for them to recognize it, be it, and then let it unfold. And they go through all the stages of unfoldment, but they're already a giant the moment that they declare themselves to be a giant.
Yeah. Well, even before that.
Even before that.
Even before they declare anything, they're already that.
That's
the seed
right.
doesn't have to declare itself, like Hugh just said. Like a mustard seed is already a mustard tree. It already is that. It doesn't have to go declare or go find itself to become that, right? It's already in there. So it's genetically created, or it's biologically created, however, to be that from the day it was born. I guess that's the way you would say it, right?
It's a wonderful way of saying it.
So are we.
Yeah. Yeah. And so is everyone.
There.
Well, and I'd just like to take a moment and acknowledge Hugh Jacobson.
Yeah.
So Hugh is, for me, one who is himself unapologetically, powerfully, and presently. And I love Hugh Jacobson. I love him for who he is. I love him for the conversations that he and I have had. I love him for helping me to explore things that I'm like, you said, what? How can that possibly be true? Let's take a moment and sit with the possibility.
I've had moments like that with Hugh too. Yeah. He gets you to step back, right? And really reflect, he's been a gem to this tribe. And, just see, there you go. I just heard the word acknowledgement. There you go. Acknowledging people. This is what you're powerful at, is that acknowledgement. Thank you for that.
It's my pleasure. And Hugh, the statement, the giant is Hugh. He has walked the path. He has walked the path of loss, grief, addiction, and he has created himself unapologetically. And he doesn't have to explain himself to anyone. And he is loving. Like, he's here because he loves himself. He loves the God of his understanding. He loves others. He loves the book, The Shack, and shares that as passionately as I've ever seen anyone share anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I know when we began this journey, there was this idea that giant is something that you accomplish, right? No, giant is who you already are. And what you accomplish is up to you. You just add that giantness to whatever you do. It doesn't matter what it looks like. So there's no measurement of it outside of yourself, right? When you're being fully that. And whatever is an expression from that it varies by the person. There are all kinds of different plants and animals and trees in the world. They're all successful in their own right? So, but when you're fully that and you're not playing from your masks or your smallness, then that's where you really are an expression of that giantness, whatever that looks like out here to us. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Oh, it's gorgeous what you just said. That's beautiful. Thank you, Nick.
I think, I got spun up in the world of, you got to have the right car. My truck blew up, right? For example, my engine blew. And so I'm driving around this old beater Honda. It gets great gas mileage. There was a version of me back in the past that would say, I can't drive this thing. Look how ugly it is. The bumper's falling off. The door won't open. It's got stained seats. It's like, who would even drive this thing? Well, I chose to grab that car while I'm getting my truck fixed. Mm-hmm. And past me might have assumed that I'm not valuable because of what I'm seen in or what I'm wearing or what I've accomplished. Now I'm like, I don't give a shit. It gets me to work, right?
And Nick's over there like taping the bumper, and he's like taking care of it. He's like seeing the gratitude and like, well, at least I have transportation, you know. And he's like loving on this car. He cleaned the seats, and it's not a great car. Like, I mean, if you were judging cars on a scale of like 1 to 10, it might be like a point something.
On a scale of like 10 to drug dealer, I'm like on beyond drug dealer.
Yeah, he's pretty close.
Beginning drug dealer.
But Nick chooses to see the giant inside of his Honda Accord.
Well, and it's so beautiful what you said, Nick, because I take off this jacket. I'm going to do it right now.
Oh, it's this kind of show. It's a Sunday show, Dave.
Hey, we've done that. Okay, hold up, dude. I got to remember. Laban Ditchburn. I'm going to do a little telling here. We did an interview with Anna, and after the interview off air, Laban comes walking down the stairs. He has
a spiral staircase. Yeah.
He's butt naked. And he has a hat over his crotch, right? And comes right up to the camera.
It's like, hello, you beautiful humans. And it's Australian. I can't do Australian. But it's exactly how you would picture Laban showing up for just about anything,
We've seen just about everything, so
almost every part of Laban Ditchburn. So this is not even shocking, Dave.
Yeah, I wear a shirt usually when I do. Not always. There have been times when I've done the cold plunge without a shirt, but
those get the best ratings, Dave.
Yeah, more engagement,
more likes and shares on those. Yeah. I just noticed that.
Let's bring it back, boy. To the point of being, I am who I am, regardless of the clothes I wear, regardless of the amount of white hair I have growing on my chest, regardless of the car that I drive, regardless of my bookcase, regardless of how well I come across in my speaking. And I can choose to have the things that I want to have. Because, and I love me. Because I love me, I can create whatever I want. And I love me whether I'm driving a Honda. I love me whether I'm driving an Infiniti. That was my midlife crisis car back in the day. I love me whether I am, driving the Avalon that I'm going to drive to church and teach a lesson the moment I'm done with this thing with.
Yeah.
I can love it all.
Yeah. This is the beauty of what you just described right there. When you recognize that you're already that, there's nothing to go earn, nothing to go bring into your space to make you better, right? It's not shiny like on Moana, right? You're not shiny, the crab. You're already valuable. And when you can do that, you just mentioned that now I can see all of the abundance that surrounds me, and I can transform whatever is out there into anything that I can imagine. I don't care what shape it's in, what form it is, what chaos it's in. I can do anything. The moment I know I am a giant already, I can take any of this and transform it into anything I can create up here.
Oh, testify, brother. Testify.
Yeah. What does that bring up? I mean, you just said that.
And doggone it, people like me.
And doggone it.
Stuart Smalley.
Yeah.
This points to a beautiful thing, right? Like the beauty of this is, I like to distinguish affirmations from declarations.
Okay.
Affirmations to me occur. It's not the way they are. They occur to me as people trying to convince themselves against their own existing judgment that they are a certain way. It's like trying to
convince that they're not right the way they see the world, right?
Yeah. Like it would be like Ryan trying to convince his son that he was not selfish without helping him deal with the story that he had about selfishness, or about that the words that other people say make any difference to anything.
Diluting the delusions, right?
Yeah. So the declarations there is this step of self-forgiveness for the judgments that I had made about the way the world is, about God, the universe, the world, about myself, about my upbringing, my parents, about my spouse, my significant other. It's all
Dang,
of
slippery slope, Rachel.
But and with declarations, you're not trying to get over anything. Painting buffalo poop.
That's what we need to say now on.
Yeah. Thus speak the white buffalo.
No more dog poop, buffalo poop.
No more pieces, right? No more buffalo poop.
Yeah.
But the declarations, I am enrolling us in and acknowledging us from being our greatness. That is one of the things, the statements, the declarations from which I constitute myself.
Yeah.
Also, one of the reasons I love the giants, because it's not I'm a giant and you are not. Yeah. It's we are giants and we are becoming more of that.
And it doesn't matter who you are in the world, what you look like, any of that. It doesn't matter. All of us are already that, right? But it gets masked. It goes back to the tether. I can't believe, like, we're 50 minutes in, and I know we'll be efficient here, but I can't believe we're that far in. I want to keep going.
Yeah, we don't want to rob anybody of Dave Orton's times. We got to get you to that lesson on time.
Right. Well, I'm sorry, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah. Well, no, just that idea, your declaration is essentially calling the shots. It's saying, this is what I'm creating in the world. It's your vision, right? That vision. And then there comes in this element, and maybe you can pull in whatever you were going to share right here into what we call the double, what is it? The double helix? Double helix. There we go. Not HELOC. That's a mortgage, right?
Well,
we don't want that.
You.
So we got the double helix of creation, surrender, and nurture, which is letting go of how that comes about, but also nurturing yourself, self-care, and developing the skill sets that can bring that about, right? You don't control the exact pathway, but you pretend like you do, right? So those together are what work together to bring that into reality. Can you speak to that?
Oh man, yes. And I love myself, and I notice occasionally I get impatient. It's like I am, like last year, I was trying to hate my way out of a day job and love my way into coaching full time.
Hating your way out of things, the way to get nothing done, right?
Oh my gosh, it's like, and Steve Hardison, I'm like, what is taking so long? It's like, Dave, number one, let it unfold. It will unfold perfectly, and your needs are going to be met and taken care of. Just let it unfold. Secondly, but I'm going to remind you that which you plant, your being plants seeds that you will harvest the fruits of. And if you're planting, hating anything in life, you're going to reap the fruits of hatred.
Right. Yeah.
So I chose to be loving, including with my job and all the people that I work with there. And it unfolded in a way that was so much more powerful than I could have imagined. And I got to be the creator of it.
Think of that vision. I just had the vision of a flower, right? The flowers, it comes in a bud, and it's green and it's not very pretty, right? But the bigger it gets, it's still within that bud, but it's enclosed, and then it has that unfolding, and then you're like, holy crap, that's beautiful, right? The giants is that.
The giants.
We weren't even a bud. We were a bud that was kind of like wrinkly and ugly and had shrinkage.
Nice callback.
Yeah.
The seed is that though too.
Tied it all in there.
Yeah.
The seed is the blossom. The seed is the future generations of other flowers. The seed is, and we are the possibility of taking the giants around the world and helping people to see that who they're being is everything, and that they're already that. All there is to do is to get clear on that the stories they have about themselves are not true, and they're worthy of love, and so am I, and so are we all.
Yeah, and those are the ropes.
Those
are the tethers, those stories, right?
Yeah. Or the blinders or the whatever. Yeah. The tethers. I love that. Yeah.
Dave, what's your legacy? What gift are you giving to the world with the work that you're doing? What's the fruit of your efforts here?
The fruit of my efforts so far have been learning that to love myself and inspiring and helping and teaching others to do that too. The legacy that I am is that I can have my religion and have spirituality. That I can be with you guys and have this be the most important moment of my life because it's right now. And rejoicing that I get to share it with two people for whom I have the utmost respect and love. It is that the stuff that happened to us when we were growing up, and guys, we have been lucky. There are some people that go through hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to help them recognize that by feeling and releasing that, they get to unfold into this paradise-like space that's right here, like not literally here. Like for me, the mind is not in the brain. The mind is a field in which we're occurring, but the mind becomes this paradise place where regardless of circumstances, I am in the garden of paradise. And sometimes I step out of it and then I step back into it and I get to create myself newly. You know, I lose it, flip off, tell some guy to F off that slammed on the brakes in front of me for no reason.
Yeah, and sorry about that.
Step back into loving me.
It was probably Nick.
I think that was me. So
were you in Mumbai?
Yeah.
You know where I got my road rage was Utah. You know,
yes,
us too.
Like, when I was going to school at BYU, you know, I worked in Salt Lake City and I flipped off this. Turned out I flipped off a general authority once in my church, which was whoopsie. That was when I realized I might have had a problem. And then I realized that now, you know, people are people, and you know, if I'm ever a general authority, I'll still have to deal with that. I like, you know, will occasionally flip people off and drop bombs here and there, and that's okay. You know, so long as I continue to be who I am, which is that I am worthy of loving.
Yeah.
And that there's nothing I could do that would make me unworthy of God's love, and share that. So I kind of went afield here. The legacy is I am loving. The legacy is I love you. And you know, the moment I'm flipping you off or the moment I'm cussing you out, I'm still loving you. You know, the moment you're threatening to kill me, I'm still loving you. The moment that you know, my bank account is below zero, I'm still loving me, and I'm loving the people that work at the bank, and I'm loving the bills that I have to pay. And that's a legacy of loving. You know, it's like, so I'm going to go teach this church lesson right now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start off with this statement that's from the Book of Mormon, which on the cover of it says, another testament of Jesus Christ. And that's who I am as a possibility. Now, and it doesn't matter to me whether for you it's I am another testament of Nicholas Townsend, or I'm another Ryan Morris, or another. I'm sorry, I used your middle name. I love that middle name, by the way.
It works, man. I think I know who you were talking about.
Well,
yeah,
I'm talking about you, and I love Townsend Wardlaw as well. Yes,
yeah,
yes,
that guy too. I do too. I appreciate Dave just as a sharing here. You know, we have such a diverse community, and you're able to share your beliefs and views in a way that honored their beliefs and views, which we have people from all backgrounds here. And Dave is sharing, this is what works for me, and other people do that too, right? So you being Dave Orton is essentially, I am unapologetically Dave Orton. And
Yeah.
this is what Dave Orton is up to. This is who I am, right? And you do it in a way that honors somebody else saying, I am this. And you say, well, I love you just like that. Thank you for that. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. And thank you for letting me be in your powerful presence as you step into your power, being that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh my gosh. If I can share one story, and I know we're at time, but I wanted to share one more story.
Yeah, we'll go a little long. I'm not concerned if you're late, but if you are, then
I do need to go.
They might be.
I got to share this. When I was in Mumbai, there were so many miracles that unfolded in Mumbai. The hotel room that I had there has become a movement. By my roommate has created this movement from that. The room 509 breathwork, and he's a breathwork coach with. I don't know if you guys have talked with him yet. His name's Wolfgang Steiner, and the guy's a beast. He's amazing, and he's present. But one of the things that happened while I wasn't there, while I was off having the adventure I was going to tell about, was he had this breath work and this healing session in that room, in this beautiful room, and people from all over the world with just disparate, different belief systems, points of view, nationalities, political views, sexuality, all of it. And there was a healing session that he held there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I went off on a walk along the beach with an amazing Muslim woman who's one of the most powerful people I know, Cordelia Ghaffar.
Yep.
And I got to go on a spirit walk. I call it a spirit walk with her. She was completely spacious and allowing me to be exactly as I was, and exactly as I was not. And she was that with me as well. Like, I am that space. But I got to look in the mirror of this masterful, amazing coach. And she gave that to me. And I gave that to her.
Yeah.
And who we are, regardless of any of that stuff, is so powerful. And when we are that, all the tides rise, all the boats rise, and we become more and more like the divine. We become more and more like who we are.
I love that. Brian, any other thoughts for you?
Yeah, if you at home are suffering in paradise, if this sounds anything like what you went through in your life, your version of your life, that's the goal, is to show you everybody, like other people go through life as well, their version of it. And if you're suffering in paradise, Dave has given you the key to unleashing the greatness within you.
I love that.
And that's by being you. More of you, all of what you can be. And that comes through unfolding, and that comes through time and experience. And Dave, I'm so grateful that, we do this as well. We like to acknowledge the guests that we have, and I'm so grateful for you. I remember how the group shifted when you came in. That's the Ultimate Coach Facebook group. If you're not part of that, go join it. You'll get to experience more of Dave Orton. And we hope to have more of Dave Orton with us as well in the future, because of who he's being and his legacy of being Dave Orton. So we love you, brother. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's been an honor. I love who you are in the world. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your philosophies with us, your being, right? For those that are watching, we just threw in the comments here a link again to the quiz. Go take that quiz. It lets you know where you're at in your journey right now, and gives us a start point for serving you with the programs that we run. And remember, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're right on time, unless you're Dave Orton, you're late.
Hey, they'll get him right on time.
Running out of here.
Be late to them.
Yeah, but keep stepping, because the giant is already within you, and so allow that to come out, allow that to express, because it's already in there. And we're grateful for you. We love that you show up every week to support us in these shows. Continue to share it with your friends and loved ones and family that would also benefit from this message. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, go do that. We need to get over 1,000 subscribers. I don't know why we don't have very many, but that's not me complaining. But go subscribe.
We don't have very many. Your language, complain about the things you love.
I love it.
Annoying that we have over 10,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, we have 1 million. Woot, woot.
1 million. Well, guys, thank you for being a part of this. Go make it a giant day, and we will see you in the next video.
Love you too.
See you guys. I gotta go. Bye-bye.